Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Dr. Suraya and my fellow classmates. Today, my groupmates and I will be presenting the issues of Islam and terrorism portrayed by the Western media. To start off, my name is Dania binti Desmin Norris and my matrix number is ES20110481. I will be introducing the basic definitions of the subtopics which will be mentioned throughout this presentation. That includes mass media, Islam, and Western media. First of all, to fully comprehend the manufacture and functionality of mass media, it is important that both terms are understood. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, mass constitutes to a large amount of something that has no particular shape or arrangement. In our context, mass means a broad group. Next, the word media translates to the plural of medium. In the methods of communication, the medium is a conduit, whereby a message is conveyed between the speaker and its audience. When conjoined, mass media can be defined as devices used to transmit a message to a large number of people. We could say that mass media is what keeps humans connected. As of today, there are three forms of media. This includes print media, electronic media, and newly. On to our next topic of discussion, Islam. Islam stems from an Arabic word which translates to the surrender of a believer's will to the one true Creator, Allah. By admitting one's submission to Allah, it is compulsory for them to abide to the Holy Al-Quran as they represent the words of Allah. In Islam, it is an obligation for its followers to live by the 5 pillars of Islam, which are the recitation of Shahada, fulfilling the 5 mandatory prayer times called Salah, granting zakat, fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, and performing Hajj. Contrary to popular belief, Islam preaches that Muslims should respect every religion as they too are creations of Allah. Islam cannot be the face of terrorism because in Islam itself there are not one but many principles which command Muslims to eradicate any form of evil. As mentioned, a great example would be the principle of human equality status. In Islam, it is believed that the first human created was Adam, the father of humanity, which means although we differ in skin color, race, and religion, all of humankind are substantially brothers and sisters. Therefore, it is a responsibility for Muslims to treat other human beings as they would treat their own blood, with kindness and empathy, thus making Islam a religion of peace and not the terrorist image painted by the majority of Western media. Western media is the main culprit in spreading the propaganda that Muslims equate to terrorists. The Western media is undeniably influential when it comes to the world's way of thinking. For example, American movies perform stronger than their foreign counterparts when it comes to the box office, due to Hollywood being movie business's defining traits. They prey on their viewers' innocence and lack of knowledge to spread preconceptions about what is going on around the world. Western media began to shape the public's opinion and hid the real world by filtering the media shown on the television. Most times, what is censored determines the viewer's belief towards a subject, thus making the news biased. People tend to easily latch onto information shown to them through a digital screen because of the confidence the speaker has on broadcast, when in actual fact, some information may have been fabricated for their own gain. Without realizing it, the Western media controls most of our everyday decisions, from our fashion to our food, because of the advertisements that they play on repeat to brainwash the rest of the world. Therefore, it is our responsibility to debunk the Western media's propaganda and reveal the genuine religion that is Islam.
My name is Ariana Andin Aganduk and my matrix number is BI20110271. Now, moving on, the September 11 attacks, which is often referred to as 9/11, were a series of 4 coordinate attacks by the Islamist terrorist groups of Al-Qaeda, which have carried out suicide attacks against targets in United States. 19 hijackers associated with the Islamic extremist group have taken control of 4 commercial airliners, and the attack resulted in nearly 3,000 deaths with over 25,000 injuries. The events of 11 September led the Western media to generate negative images of Islam around the world, not just within the United States. There is a clear trend in utilizing the word terror more openly than before, and there is also a tendency to target Islamic groups due to the perpetrators of 9/11 being Islamic. Some of the Western media manufactured images of Islam that includes religious imams or mullahs, cartoon bombs in Muslim turbans, skyscraper terrorism, airplane hijackings, and suicide bombers. Take for example, a video that will appear in a second is an interview of several Muslims where they were asked how they think Muslim is portrayed in Hollywood. Please take a look.
Muslims are always terrorists.
Violent terrorists.
Terrorists.
Bad people.
Shows like 24. True lies.
The last thing you will see will be your blood spraying across his face.
You constantly have this reinforcement of a very negative image of Muslims.
There was like these cardboard, angry, stock brown characters who used to waste bullets shooting machine guns in the air, which I thought was very inefficient. No son of immigrants would ever be that wasteful.
Muslim women are always portrayed as like the oppressed woman, the terrorist, or the hyper-patriot.
I remember when I was a kid, I would pray that like Bart Simpson became Muslim, or I'd pray that Spider-Man became Muslim, because we didn't have any role models.
Imbalanced media coverage had at least in of the responsibility of the spread of Islamophobia in the West. This was due to news programs are perceived as serious and truthful, as journalism is affiliated publicly with objectivity and fairness. Within the media, separation occurs between Muslim and the public, which is represented by them and us mentality. Tension was created as it gives the impression that there is this huge clash between Islam and the Western world, that they are constantly at war with each other. The media can help shaping the reality of the readers when often a person or a religion is associated with an act, as the public conceive their reality through the use of language. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Batu Shaina, so I'm going to talk about framing the Muslims. These reactions warn the general condemnation and biased coverage of the media, and the community also criticized the media for making unlicensed statements by opinion leaders. Their reactions and attitudes on the issues show solidarity and concern towards Muslims. Instead of throwing hate, European community wanted to know more about Islam after the tragedy. The Islamic faith community often asks to provide contributor for more discussions, and the reaction of the hostile show the particular for interreligious issues very well. Verbal threats have also experienced growth through letters and phone calls in opposition to Muslim community. A spokesperson of the Islamic faith community stated that there was no physical attacks on Muslims that have been made until then, and the perception of the prison conditions was not shared by others NGOs and the region Islam communities. Non-Muslim Westerns always question the Muslim that they encountered with some general expressions like "what have you done again?" and they also experience the need of people talking about the obstacles they faced as the Muslims and the mentality towards them. People that do not know about Muslim will ask and check them, while sometimes the person who identified as Muslim felt like they have to carry a sign that stating they also against the terrorism and tell others not to worry. Muslims in New Zealand had to struggle for their spot among the New Zealand society like other groups of minor. There were multiple incidents of mistreatment and discriminations towards Muslim women particularly. The Islamic Women's Council of New Zealand raised concerns in 2014 to 2018 with numerous government officers as well as the Ministry of Social Development and New Zealand Security Intelligence Service. The leader of this council described that despite their recommended preventive actions and worries over the growing deaths and the news by local Islamophobic like the false news about jihadi brides, there was nothing had been done. The concern expressed in government policies that Muslims' hope have failed and their opinions were not represented in New Zealand media. The director of the Security Intelligence Service had established that there was less than a dozen jihadi brides who moved from New Zealand to Syria and Iraq in order to defend themselves or to support ISIS fighter. But it was blurry if they had gone. The tone of this report is alarming, even short, and only focused on particular information that cannot be approved. Muslims were downgraded in New Zealand media before the Christchurch attack. This correlated with the stories told in the international media that Hughes originated from the USA. Muslims had always struggling in making a relationship with Western media due to the influences of historical Roman and Greek that discriminates minor groups.
Hi, my name is Feti Faraiza. So moving on to the next point, the false news of weapons of mass destruction that was hidden by Iraq. It is a nation of Muslims that on purpose in order to frame Islam as a faith that carried violence. Both Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden, that once backed by the powers of Western media, changed from allies to enemy. The rise of terror groups claiming to be Muslims always fueled the portrayal of the violent people. These terror attacks that has happened is also due to the lack of understanding and knowledge that leads to the sufficient of accurate stories by Islam and Muslim itself. So it means like due to their lack of understanding of Islam and Muslim made these terror attacks happen. So the last point of the reaction towards Islam is that the bodies of a veteran military who ranted online against women and blacks opened fire that killed 2 women and 5 injured. This shows that the misrepresentations brought by the lack of understanding and knowledge among the Western media has caused a huge negative effects towards Muslim and Islam itself. The danger of this attitude on normalizing discrimination, abuse, and false presentations on minor religion, especially Islam, that cause violence is that the hatred and violence acts itself does not end, but provides more of it by producing more inhuman, heartless monster named xenophobia on Islam. So this type of lies can fill up and initiate hatred among the communities who often relies on media for more information and knowledge. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Aisyah binti Potrayed. In this video, I'm going to continue with Muslim Islam attitude and response toward terrorism and Western media. There are a lot of non-Muslims complaining about Muslims being not care after them being called as terrorism. However, there are a lot of statements regardless this issue about how Muslims really against this attack on innocent people, but being ignored by the media. As we know that media is the sole agent in giving information and also instead awareness to the society. If they choose to ignore ignore all this Muslim complaining and reports, then the whole world might not know about this. So in a book wrote by Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad back then in 2003, he claimed that there is an extension of negative stereotype, discrimination, and also hate toward Muslim by international media, especially after the 9/11 incidents. So in this research, we find out that there are a lot of action taken by Muslims regardless this issue. Firstly, how Muslims spoken toward 9/11 incidents. In 2007, study from Pew Research Center showed that Muslims were against all the violence toward innocent people, such as suicide bombing. So in UK, after the death of Osama bin Laden, Muslims gathered to praise him as the hero of Islam and protest to US as they killing him. This demonstration was organized by Anjem Choudhury. And besides, Daily Telegraph also have conducted a research that showed that 88% of Muslims oppose suicide bombing as Islam really reprimand this action. Secondly, how Muslims respond toward Northwest Airlines Flight 253 incidents. So, a group of Canadian and US Islamic leaders has issued a fatwa on known as religious ethic that condemning any attack by extremists and terrorists on both US and Canada. These actions are evil, and Muslims against Islam require Muslims to stand up against evil. So it's what the fatwa state, and being signed by 20 imams that's associated with the Islamic Supreme Council of Canada. So in addition, this fatwa also remind that religious leader have a responsibility to show to others in the world that Muslim in Canada and US has fully freedom to practice Islam. Lastly, the incident that happened in Alexandra bombing that happened in 2011. This is another proof that Muslims actually care about their neighborhood. On 6 January, Egyptian Muslims gathered at church on the eve of the Christmas to protect the people from any possible attack that happened on that night. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairul Niza binti Ghazali. My matrix number is BS20110495. In conclusion, Western media in particular has been a big culprit of the propaganda that terrorists associate with Muslims. This is because of the trust that the speaker has on broadcast, when in fact, some information might have been manipulated for the benefit of their name, and the people tend to quickly grab onto information presented to them via a digital screen. The events of 9/11 led the Western media to generate negative image of Islam. The news, media and online websites virtually attack Islam have increased rapidly that contribute to the Western's publicity and good profits. The misrepresentations brought by the lack of Western media information have had a significant negative impact on Muslim and Islam itself. Thus, the government needs to proceed using social media extensively to provide a positive role in providing a clearer understanding to the public about the situations. It is our responsibility to debunk the Western media's lies and to demonstrate that Islam is the real religion. Lastly, we have to act on it for those who ascribe to the principles of treating all equally. And we have to be very vocal within our protected environments. And we have to be very involved in acting on these beliefs at a time when it really matters. That's all from us. Thank you.